Hey, everybody.
Hello, Coach. If anyone has questions for Coach, you can go ahead and raise your hands. And we will kick things off with Brady Trantham with the franchise.
Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, Brady.
Awesome. We've kind of asked you ad nauseum about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his next step, but I'm just curious, and I know it's far too early to probably have a grander vision of this, but what do you guys envision for Darius Bazley and his role, maybe more so as a playmaker going into this season?
I mean, it's part of the plans for sure. He's a young enough player and early enough in his career that his game is a little bit undefined at this point, and we're still in a bit of a discovery mode with him. Shai's probably a year ahead of that. Obviously, he's got 2 years in the NBA, and he's had more opportunities to be a creator and play with the ball. Darius definitely has that capability. He's shown that, and he had a really good year last year in terms of his growth and improvement through the experiences that he had. And so, we expect him to make a jump this year. That's our goal and expectation with him, but we don't know exactly what that'll look like. But, we're definitely not going to put constraints on him. A player with his skills, his eagerness to learn, his willingness to improve. We're going to see kind of where his game takes him.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Next, we'll go to Nick Gallo with Thunder Broadcasting.
Hey, Mark. Wanted to ask you about TJ Leaf. Just curious about what you've seen from his game first couple days and what you've known from him after he's been in the league for a few years.
Yeah, he's a really good rebounder. He plays bigger than he is. He's kind of a unique, modern type 5-man because he can roll, he can pop, he's springy off the floor. He's been really good with communication on defense, which is a huge skill on that end of the floor. And all these guys that are coming from different organizations, it's an opportunity to make a first impression again. And he's a guy that in talking to him, he's reflected on his time in Indy and has kind of a bit of a philosophy coming out of that. And he's got a sense of purpose out here. So he's done a nice job. We've enjoyed working with him so far.
Next, we have Andrew Schlecht with Down to Down.
Hey, Coach, do you have any sort of vision for what Pokusevski will be on the court on both ends? Like, do you have any vision of like who he defends on the court and then maybe what his offensive role would be?
Tough this early, I wish I could give you a little bit more, really what we're focused on right now with a guy like him is professional habits, understanding the Thunder, understanding our culture and the standards that we have here, getting to know him as a person, getting to know his personality, getting to know his game, getting to know him as a competitor. And then on the court, obviously we're out there working on things in practice, but most of what we're doing are like fundamental core skills on both ends of the floor that kind of transcend anybody's game. That's the spirit of the first couple of days of training camp anyways, but with a player that's, in his first year. And like I said before, without a lot of touch points with him, we're focused on the big picture stuff with him and we're going to take it step by step.
Next, we'll go to Paris Lawson with OKCThunder.com.
Hey, Coach, kind of along those lines that you were just mentioning, Mike mentioned the other day that for some of the younger guys, it might be not such a bad thing to jump straight into training camp versus going through, summer league and the typical kind of off-season activities. Have you seen some of those maybe benefits for some of these younger guys of just kind of diving straight into training camp?
Yeah, you got to find the benefit because that's the circumstance. You got to make it the right road because that's the road we're on. And so, I think if we could choose in a normal year, we do like the whole idea of, onboarding them into summer league. We like the idea of getting guys in the gym in September. If nothing else, they learn each other and they get to know one another as people, and they bump each other quite a bit, whether it's in the back getting a bite to eat or whether it's after pickup game or whatever. Those are important touch points. That's why we do it every year. But obviously this year is different and we need to make this the right road that we're on. And the guys have done a great job of that. I mean, like I said, I think the mentality in the organization that's trickled onto the court is that, we're not going to make excuses. We're not going to skip steps. And we're going to be grateful for the opportunity to be out here, regardless of how uncertain or imperfect it might seem in a given moment. So they've done a good job there. Nothing about the world we're in right now is ideal, but we're grateful and we're making the most of every opportunity.
Next, we have Myron Patton with Fox 25.
Yeah, Mark, you just mentioned about Pokusevski, you're kind of in a learning process with him. It's early. How does he compare to last year the same time when you had Bazley, who hadn't played college or even overseas for a year, hadn't played since high school? How does it compare to what you were trying to learn with him the same time? And as far as Pokusevski, to know about him, is it just a matter of getting in scrimmage situations, drills to really know what you got? How do you figure out what you have?
Well, to answer the second question, I think the way you figure it out is just like, experience by experience. So we know a little bit more today than we did yesterday. We'll certainly know a lot more after a preseason game and after a preseason schedule, and then after 5 games and 10 games during the season, practices during the season. Every single experience these guys have is an opportunity for them to learn, and it's an opportunity for us to learn a little bit more about them and where they are and where they need to go. To compare them to Bazley, no two players are the same. What I'd say, they both did a really good job of is when they've walked in the door, they've been all eyes and ears. They've been extremely professional and respectful. Darius was like that last year, and Poku's done a nice job of that so far with us now. In terms of on the floor, obviously, like I said, we don't know a ton, but, that's the one thing they do have in common is they both took a great approach to this. The other thing with Poku to remember is, this is a huge cultural shift for him. So he's playing in America for the first time. And so that's is a different style of play. It's a different culture. Oklahoma City is much different than places where he's lived. And so, so much is coming at him right now that it would be really unfair for us to even form even positive judgments of him. We're just trying to remain very open. We're in a mode of discovery, even with Baze in his second year, even with Shea in his third year. We're still discovering new things about these players, and that openness allows us to continue to be creative with them. We don't want to corner ourselves or box a player into something because of an opinion that we formed.
Next, we have Joe Masato with the Oklahoman.
Hey, Mark, I'm wondering what it's been like to have a guy like George Hill on the team and in the gym, especially around some of the young guys. And I know it might be a little early for this question, but when you're, looking ahead to playing time, like how do you balance developing some of the young guys and giving them minutes versus playing a proven veteran like George Hill?
Well, the first question, George has been great, and he's one of those guys that's very verbal as a veteran player. I think one mistake that I could make and one mistake we could make is to expect that every player that's got a lot of experience wants to take on a verbal and active leadership role. I think that's something that those guys have to choose. But George enjoys that. He made that clear to us when he came here based on his past experiences as a veteran guy on teams. And he's followed through on that on the court. He loves being in the guy's ears. He loves putting his arm around a guy. He's got a great way about him. He earns a lot of respect because of the type of person he is and how professional he is. I've been very impressed with how he works for a guy that's as proven as he is. He doesn't skip steps in practice. Every single rep is hard. He plays hard and competes hard. He's been really impressive as a player on the court and also, inside of our team with the presence that you mentioned. In terms of playing time, we'll see how that shakes out. George is a guy that obviously is a proven player, and I wouldn't say that you have to choose development or a proven veteran. A lot of times proven veterans, and I think we saw this with last year's team, proven veterans can help the development of your team. Proven veterans can help you function. They're empowered to be in guys' ears when they're on the court with the guys. And so we don't necessarily view those as two different things. Those can be merged, and every team's different. I don't know exactly what George's role will be. I can't say I know what anybody's role will be yet at this point. But I wouldn't say that it's an either or equation. That's really not how we look at it.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.